Hi, everybody. Am I up? Can you see me? Are we good? I think Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, everybody. It is so good to be here. Thank you for joining us for our private practice reunion. We will use any excuse to get together and goof around and talk and BS together. For 6 years, we used the excuse that we all had a job together to do that. The show and shooting and all that stuff was actually just a pretense for a lot of good friends to hang out. And we also had to do some work while we were there. Now we are all doing the work of this enormous election that's coming up 2 weeks from today. And we're here to talk about private practice a little bit. We're here to talk about voting a little bit. We're going to keep saying it. iwillvote.com. This is your one-stop shop for everything you need to vote. If you haven't registered, if you need a ballot, if you need to know where your polling place is, if you want to be a poll volunteer, all those things are at iwillvote.com. But without further ado, I know you didn't, you probably did sign in to just listen to me talk, but there's some other people here. So I want to introduce the rest of the private practice cast in Brenneman, Tim Daly, Brian Benben, Chris Lowell, Katie Strickland, and Caterina Scorso. You guys in? Are we in?
Hey,
yes.
What about me?
Oh yeah.
Claire Walsh. I said Claire Walsh. Oh, and the star of the show.
I thought you were going in alphabetical order. I'm like, cool, that's cool. All right, I respect
also
that.
like to
Very
point,
egalitarian.
I would just like to tell America and the world a couple things. Amy had some oral surgery today, so not only is she slurring her words, but if you asked her like true term anything, you could probably get a pretty good answer out of it.
I know, it's Novocaine. It's not Percocet. I wish I had Percocet, but I'm not on.
Seems like. Okay, speaking of which, we're going to do some stuff. We're going to talk about the election, and then we're going to talk about private practice. And this is how the way the private practice stuff is going to go. I'm going to do a speed round stuff.
He's so bossy. I never knew.
Very bossy.
You didn't. I directed. You didn't listen to me. I'm going to call out people's names, and you're going to give me the answer. For instance, how do you pronounce my last name? Caterina.
Edelstein.
Wrong. Kate.
Stein.
Adelstein.
Wrong. Amy.
Stein. Edelstein.
Edelstein.
Katie.
Ding, ding, ding.
Katie, how do you say my last name?
Edelstein.
Good. Chris.
Edelstein.
Ryan.
Well, Edelstein. I always said Edelstein. I don't know why I said
Okay,
Adelstein this time. I panicked.
Okay, now, on to more serious things.
The opposite.
It's Alberstein.
Adelstein.
Thank you, Brian.
And that's the Alberstein, no?
So, every time there is a presidential election, it's the most important election of our lives, we're told, which is probably true. This one seems, it seems even more important, doesn't it? And we could talk about so many different reasons why, but because we all, except for Chris, play doctors on television, I would like to toss it around a little bit to you guys to talk about the ACA, which is clearly on the line, Obamacare and everyone with pre-existing conditions getting kicked off their insurance, and this pandemic that we're currently living through and the importance of healthcare workers and supporting them. That's on the docket 2 weeks from today. How have you guys seen voters talking about that? What have you read that has inspired you to get involved in it? Amy, since you're drugged up, I'll start with you. Anybody can jump in. Let's just do what we do. And when I say stop talking, don't listen to me. Amy.
Should I stop?
No.
I thought you had a weird look in your eye. No. I mean, there's a million things to say. I would also put, reproductive health care is also on the line just because of what's going on with the Supreme Court, which I think is part of health care for women and trans people and whoever needs it. I feel like we're in this total cognitive dissonance, which we've been in for a while, but specifically with the pandemic, it's like between, I went back to work this week, or my kids' schools, or my mom lives in this community, like everybody's doing the right thing, right? Everybody's doing the right thing. Everybody's masked up. I can't see my mom if there's an outbreak, and yet the current president of the United States is in an alternate universe. We all know why, but I think it will be really exciting to have our national policy be aligned with science and be aligned with what most people around me are doing. So it's this weird thing where it's like it really does become this nattering, I wish harmless, it's terribly harmful, but we are doing the opposite of what we're being told, including taking away healthcare during a pandemic. So I'm just excited to have my brain not hurt with that.
Yes. Tim and Chris, you're in New York, and you've been in New York for the duration. Is that right? I know, Tim, you have. It's better there now, right? How does it feel there with the pandemic, with healthcare workers? Tim, you just mentioned it's 7 o'clock there. People are banging their pots and pans. How are you guys doing there?
Well, I think we're doing really pretty well. I personally have had 6 people die of this disease, which is it's so shocking that I haven't even processed it yet. And my sister Tyne Daly, who, by the way, played Amy Brenneman's mother in a weird sort of TV genetic situation.
Sister, mother.
Anyway, Tyno got COVID, and we were sequestered for about a month, and I was her nurse, so I saw firsthand the effects of this disease and how serious it is. Thank God she's okay and she didn't have to be hospitalized, but she was really sick. So I've been kind of up close and personal with it, and I think that New Yorkers are doing really pretty well because generally in New York, it's such a diverse and crazy mixed up population. We have learned how to coexist with each other and cooperate because we don't want to make the other guy sick because we rely on each other here. So I think it's done pretty well. That said, I think there's some COVID fatigue, and from time to time you do see people without masks, but New Yorkers are also good at policing each other. So I think we're doing okay. But I think the main point is we cannot let down now, because obviously the weather's going to get colder, people are going to go inside, and the danger and the risk of catching this disease is going to increase by a lot. So hopefully we'll continue to do the right thing and head in the right direction.
Chris, have you been there the duration?
Yeah, actually, I started out in Los Angeles, and then my partner and I drove back to New York in like a 1977 VW bus campmobile where we ate and
We
camped
saw the
in
pictures,
bus.
Chris. We saw the pictures.
Yeah, sorry, not
Of
to
course
throw
you
it in
did.
your
We
face,
saw the
but
pictures.
it was pretty amazing. But truly, what scared the shit out of me was that there was no federal response. Like every state you would pull into would have a completely different approach to masks, to protocols in terms of combating the virus, and it really was baffling and kind of terrifying, this idea that at the federal level there was no consensus as to, or there was a consensus, but then our acting president was undermining that with his very behavior day in and day out. And so for me it was actually really beautiful when we finally got to New York, because the tragedy that hit the city so early on, there's nobody in this city that doesn't know that COVID is real. Everybody here is on the same page about that.
You guys got hit so hard so early.
Yeah, and it speaks to the resilience of New Yorkers. I mean, I remember the day they started allowing outdoor dining, and I mean, this city's already so freaking hard to live in and so tough. And then you see people, with the stakes even higher and the challenges even more difficult, just rallying. I mean, I remember when you saw people flipping pallet crates on their side and painting them red and running outside with their own houseplants and calling it a patio, it was just like so inspiring, like that. The human spirit firing on all cylinders here makes it really invigorating and kind of feels like we're all on the same page. It's really nice to see that kind of unity.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You coastal.
Paul?
Yes, Kate.
I want to say something here, because this is something that, first of all, I'm in Western Australia. I already voted by absentee ballot, but you know this. I think a few of you know, but this is something. First of all, I'm in a COVID-free state because of how the government here handled the response to a global pandemic, and there was an alliance between federal and state governments, and everyone followed protocol. And now I am living in an alternate universe where no one wears masks and we live a free life, and I'm doing a play and living a pretty normal life. But I want to say this because I say it to people here who forget and people in the States who have different responses depending on their region, and it's more rural communities. I know it doesn't seem like it's so extreme, but my assistant, who I've worked with for 10 years, Derek Brake, who was 36 at the time, got COVID, as well as 10 other people at a New York dinner party. They all did what they were told to do to sweat it out at home and leave the hospitals for older or more vulnerable patients. And then on day 8 of him sweating it out, he was having trouble breathing and went to urgent care. And his blood oxygen was so low, he was rushed to a hospital and was in there for 27 days and almost died. All of his organs shut down. This is a 36-year-old man with no pre-existing health conditions, in incredible shape. When I tell you what he went through, and me being here and his mother not being able to see him, and with health care, I have insured him. He has health insurance for 10 years and really good health insurance. What he got, first of all, he survived, like by a miracle. But he is one of those guys. I know there are some people that are friends with Nick Cordero, a Broadway actor, who's 41, died from this disease. This is very real. But the fact is that Derek came out of that hospital. Thank God he came out. But he also came out with a health bill with insurance of $1.4 million.
Jesus.
And there was a moment where they were going to deny him coverage because COVID is so nebulous, and the test said no, and the test said yes, and the test said no. Anyway, it was all covered, thank God, in the end. But this is very, very real. And I think a lot of people here, and I get it, everyone's like, is it real? Is it, how scary is it? Is this too much? Are we overreacting? But I just want to say that it's critical. It is life or death. And it was an insane experience, and I'm glad that situation had a happy ending. But like Tim said, I mean, it's, people have died from this. Like, this is a life or death issue, and it's that urgent. And so
I think the thing that you pointed out, which is so, I mean, I've been in Los Angeles for the duration, that is kind of mind-blowing, is that you're in Western Australia and you're in a COVID-free state. That it absolutely blows my mind. I mean, my daughter's upstairs remote learning and doesn't see her friends, and we're all in that. In order to combat this is what's on the ticket, what Kate was just talking about. IWillVote.com. So, show of hands, who's voted yet? Look at that. I'm voting tomorrow.
Okay, I have a question, IWillVote.com.
Yes.
I have my ballot.
This is about your teeth?
No, it's coming back.
Okay.
I'm not drooling as much.
Good.
Like, I am so I know there's a box near me. What I want to do is go, just because I also want to bring waters and chips, and there's a big line. I can drop my ballot at a voting place, right?
IWillVote.com will tell you where to drop it safely and when. It'll give you the hours. I know Hollywood Bowl has one, and there's a bunch.
But I want to go to a place. Like, I want to go. I want to see people.
Oh, on the day.
Yeah, but I think you can drop it on the day.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. It will give you your local polling place and all that. And also, for younger people out there, Chris, etc.,
Brian,
poll workers are crucial. We know that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at the polls, and older people normally do those jobs. This year, obviously, that's going to be more dangerous for them, and they're not getting the volunteers that they normally do when there's not a pandemic. So if you go to IWillVote.com, you want to be a poll worker, that would be great. You don't even have to be of voting age to be a poll worker. So if you want to go and take your brother and sister, they can work there too. I'm not sure what the minimum age requirement is, but because we only have a little bit of time left, and some people haven't gotten to talk at all, I know, we're going to start doing some speed rounds. Okay? Speed round, everybody's character, well, let's say not everybody's, because Tim died and Chris left.
I died as well.
Oh, you died as well?
It's not a big deal. Yeah, don't worry about it. I also died. Kate broke down. Kate was operating on me. It's not a huge deal.
Here's a great private practice story.
Season 4 began with my funeral. Don't worry
Was
about it.
I?
Keep going. Let's move right past.
Did I kill you?
First died.
Did I kill you?
Into a scene. Do you remember in the bloopers you came into the scene with your head wrapped?
I just remember getting a video of Paul and the rest of the cast after I had left, and all of them were dancing on my grave.
Yes.
Literally.
I found that video the other day.
I thought, what was your job in the show, Chris? I thought you were medical.
You know, I don't know that I ever figured out what my job was either.
This is a midwife.
I know that I know that my longest screen time
was
in the
a
pilot
surfing midwife.
was walking shirtless with no shoes on, okay, through a medical clinic that was full of children. Also, I mean, you were I mean, right? I mean, it was just absurd. I was also the receptionist and a nurse and a midwife, and I got into medical school just before the brain bleed took me.
Renaissance man.
It's a quintuple
Okay,
threat.
so here's our speed round, and we're gonna go Caterina, Kate, Tim, Chris, Katie, Amy, Brian, because that's what you are on my screen. If your character could end up with one character on the show, not the one that Shonda wrote, who would you have ended up with? Per your choice, no offenses allowed. Caterina, go.
Wait, are they single? Like, wait.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. This isn't an ethics question.
I
Yes.
feel like a file with multiple characters.
Name them. Okay, you're gonna be polyamorous with who? Go.
I'm gonna go. Everyone who is in the hot bathtub.
That's good.
Although Addison didn't get high, she was just supervising.
And she was sitting on the edge of the.
You went on the edge.
Oh, I think it's just you and me, Paul.
You ended up with Brian with Benjamin Bratt, whose name I can't remember on the show. Anybody? Awesome.
I married him. I don't remember what he was called. What is he called?
I ended up with Benjamin.
Last name for that was fantastic. So,
What was
okay, Kate,
Benjamin's
you ended up with Benjamin. If you could end up with somebody else, who would it have been?
What was his character's name?
Fine. I'm sure our fans are screaming at the screen.
Dr. Handsome.
This is the slowest speed round in the history.
Hey, go! Who would you have ended up with?
There's 514 people watching you, Kate.
Hey, who would you end up
Oh wait, is it me?
Yes, it's you, Kate. Who would you have ended up with?
Okay, all right, Chris, you know you called me. We live right around the corner from each
I've
other
been
in
waiting
New York.
freaking
Why?
years to hear
Why?
that.
Amy Brenneman, Violet Turner, who would you have ended up with?
Tim Daly.
Bullshit, he's dead. Kate Strickland, other than Cooper, who would you have ended up with?
That's
Amelia.
Chris Lowell, who would you have ended up with if you hadn't brain Delta Taco?
Del Taco, the Delevator probably would have ridden Tim also. I can't help it. He's so damn handsome. Look at him.
Okay. Tim Daly,
The
Pete
dead are together.
Wilder, what was it originally?
He Wilder.
Wilder.
Wilder,
Oh,
baby.
something before Wilder. Because you punched him like a cowboy, like a gladiator. Remember?
Oh God, yes, Gladiator. Oh my God.
He punched him like a cowboy, like a gladiator, with Addison's line.
Okay.
Wow. I remember this not for
Anyway, who would you have ended up with?
But speaking
Sort
of
of
Gladiator,
Bridgeman.
Tay Diggs, obviously.
Yeah, Tate's a big one too. I mean, come
Where the
on.
hell is Tay?
Sam Bennett.
That's the thing. That's the big
He's
question.
working. Tay's working, and Audrey is taking her daughter to her birthday. It's her fourth.
Okay.
Fourth.
Sheldon, who would you have ended up with?
I think I would have wound up with your character because the fight in the kitchen, I thought we made a certain connection.
I think we did too. There's kind of a somatic thing between our kind of just.
Think about it a lot.
Right.
Excuse me, interrupting speed round to say happy birthday to like 4 people on this Zoom call.
Who?
Katerina, Kate, and Chris all just had their birthdays, guys.
Oh yeah.
Birthday,
Thanks,
y'all.
Katie. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
Welcome.
Next speed round is we're gonna guess, and it's just a number, no sentences, just numbers. How old was Chris Lowell when private practice started? No looking. Go, Caterina.
21.
Kate.
21.
Amy.
24.
Katie.
23.
Kim.
7.
Brian. Unfortunately. Brian.
That's ridiculous. 12.
I'm gonna go 24. Chris.
I think Katie takes it. I was 23.
Jeez.
Clapham 23. Yep.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
I have so many more speed round questions, but we're actually, if you can believe this, Caterina.
Can I talk a little bit about why this election is important to me?
Why is this election important to you?
Okay, first of all, I think everyone should go to iwillvote.com. I'm going to plug iwillvote.com.
I second that.
This election, all of the elections are important, but this one in particular is important to me and kind of like punched me in the face when I realized what the stakes were. So I have a daughter who's 3.5, and her name is Pippa, and she has Down syndrome. And when this whole pandemic started, so many issues were drawn into sharp focus. And one of those was that she has a pre-existing condition. And so if that is, if it's called into question whether someone with a pre-existing condition has access to healthcare, that's my daughter, that's our family. The other thing that was actually up for debate at the beginning of the pandemic was whether people with Down syndrome would have access to ventilators. And it was eventually clarified, but there was not consensus on whether or not somebody who had a cognitive difference or a disability would have the same kind of access to healthcare that typical people would have. And that is like a moral failing of our culture that really needs to be looked at. And I think that the other thing that affected us so directly was the lack of consensus from our administration about what the precautions are for this pandemic. With Down syndrome, there's something in their immune system, in her immune system, that can cause like an over-inflammation of immune defense, which is this cytokine storm that everybody's talking about. And so she's a prime candidate for having a cytokine storm and having organ failure because of that. And so the fact that there were people who were like, I don't know, do we have to wear masks? Shouldn't we be staying 6 feet apart? Maybe it's not important. Maybe we'll just inject bleach and it'll be fine. That was so deeply irresponsible and terrifying for our family and for my daughter. And so yeah, the stakes are so high for my family and for all of us. And so I just hope that iwillvote.com and takes the time to, like, bare minimum, just fill out the ballot and go. And it's like less than like driving to pick up a pizza somewhere. Like, it's so easy. And the stakes are high.
Can I just say too, it's like, this is it. I don't mean to, thank you so much, Kat. I just want to say that here it's mandatory in this country to vote. You get fined if you don't vote. I wish that was the case. But imagine, they can't imagine that people wouldn't go to vote. Or they can, but they fixed it. So anyway, until we get to that place, go to iwillvote.com, hey?
I love all you guys. Thank you so much.
Why do we have to go?
I know, why are we going? This is great.
Because we're going to
7:24 my time.
Because we're going to get back to the Biden campaign so that we can.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that is more important.
Okay.
I love you guys.
Happy birthday, Kamala, too.
Birthday, Kamala.
Oh, happy birthday, Kamala. Yeah.
Everybody, please, thank you for tuning in. Go to iwillvote.com. Let's do another Zoom reunion.
Do it.
Yeah, I miss you guys so much.
I would like to kick it back to Lydia Simmons from Biden campaign. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you for
us.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, women, for Biden.
iwillvote.com.
Thank you, guys. I love you. Next, peeps.
Bye, guys. I love you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
y'all.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Awkward pause while we. We're at lunch.
There we go. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much.